right. Welcome back to the Deep Life. Today we're going to go deep on what it means to live a deep life.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, the Deep Life, I came up with this, by the way.
You're so smart. No, really.
Yeah, well, we were talking for years about how we wanted to start our own podcast and what would we call it? Would it be Momentum, Strength, Wellness, something like that. But we were having conversation with a close friend of ours, and she was so inspired by what we were talking about, and she said to us, like, you guys should have your own podcast. And we're like, we know, we've been talking about this. But in my mind, I think I got the download either during like a walking meditation or at sleep. I couldn't think of it. But because we go kind of, again, deep into things, it's not surface level of just fitness and food and movement. Like, it's an all-encompassing aspect to our lives, what we've gone through, what our clients go through, and how we coach them. But the DEEP stands for Dan Elwood and Elise Palmieri. So it's our initials. Mm-hmm. It's DEEP, Dan Elwood, Elise Palmieri, which I know that a lot of people don't know that. And it rings so true to our lives and is so close to my heart because it's who we are, and we live a very deep life. Yeah, and we keep digging deeper each and every day. Like, I think about myself today, I wasn't even the same person a week ago. Like, I think I had like a mental breakdown like 3 weeks ago, actually probably 2 weeks ago, and I was like, you came home, I was sitting on the floor crying. I was like, I don't know who I am. Which, that's great. Yeah. I love it.
Like, that's been the journey.
Shedding the layers, I'm shedding the masks. But so DEEP is our initials. So let's dive deep into.
But I think it's almost like exactly what you just said. It's like we keep digging.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what it means. It's like nothing is ever going to be what it appears to be on the surface. Mm-hmm. So I think a big part of like just our lives and journey in general has been we got to a point where we were no longer willing to accept that sort of surface level facade, I think, that's out there, the illusion that's all around us. Mm-hmm. And we started digging.
Yes. Because I think if there was anything we were questioning or experiencing situations that were happening within the health and wellness journey that we've gone on. So it really that's kind of what started it, with certain movements and patterns, the foods that we were eating, and what we were being told was healthy was just making us really sick. Yeah. And I wasn't losing the weight, and I wasn't, reducing my inflammation. Working out really, 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 really hard was not making me skinnier, and eating less was not making me skinnier. If anything, it had the complete opposite effect. Right. I was feeling bloated. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I don't understand this. And you were kind of in the same boat as you were reading all the muscle magazines and bodybuilders. So we were like, there's a disconnect here. Yeah. What's going on? So we, through trial and error, began experimenting completely opposite of what we were being told. And it was like, whoa, wait a minute. There are results now, and I don't need to eat, 5 small meals a day. And okay, I really don't need to work out or be on the treadmill for an hour. I can get something done really good. Or, oh, wait a minute, this knee pain that I'm having is from a back issue. It's not my knee. So it's things like that. Then as we began, our company, Momentum, a couple years ago, and we started working with clients, and I think this is really what sets us apart from your typical nutrition coach, trainer, any type of coach, really at all, is when someone presents a problem to us, it's never just the one problem, right? It's someone's presenting a thing. We'll use the analogy of the knee pain.
Okay. Yeah,
because this is great. So this is a client of ours last year. It's really a client of yours, but I obviously help with the nutrition aspect of it. She had come to you saying, my knee is constantly hurting, my left knee. I can't remember if it was left or right. And you'd give her some movements to do within a couple weeks and it wasn't getting any better. Then you asked her, show me the shoes you're wearing. Because in our research over the last couple years, we realized everything is everything, right? Everything's interconnected. So the knee pain was her body screaming to her that there's actually really some not great mobility from your ankles, which is caused by the platform sneakers that she had on. I mean, there had to have been at least an inch and a half sole.
But like nothing crazy, like standard kind of athletic shoes, like Nikes or whatever, like running shoes. But yeah, you have that big, thick, cushiony sole, which basically, acts as like a cast around your foot. So you're outsourcing your foot to the shoes.
Yes, exactly.
But what happened is her foot atrophied. The muscles got weak. Her ability to feel and sense the ground diminished, and her ankles got really stiff. And then everything from there on up is compensation patterns.
Yes, exactly.
But this is like, exactly. Like, this is a good example because this is the epitome of getting deep, is that pain is, I don't want to say never because nothing is never, but pain is very rarely caused by the area where you're experiencing pain.
Yes, that's what I was
so
saying.
like knee pain is very, very rarely a knee problem. It's a problem somewhere else, and the compensation pattern ends up putting too much stress on your knee or your hip or your back, and they're all related. It's like everything is everything, and that's why, like, for a lot of people who have low back pain, and then somebody else has knee pain, it's just a different manifestation of the exact same problem. They both probably have weak feet and stiff ankles. And it's just depending on, like, our bodies are different. For example, I'm like a foot taller than you are. I'm a lot heavier than you are. Just, we're different. You're a woman, I'm a man. Like, our hips are different. Everything's different. So that dysfunction in the feet would manifest in each of us differently. And that's the same thing for what we found here. So trying to treat the knee didn't work.
Right.
Which sometimes it does. Sometimes, like, maybe you're just a little bit weaker on that joint, or you need to rest your knee, whatever it is. But just going through this process of realizing, like, okay, it's not the knee. We need to go deeper. And then we found a solution. And that has been how almost everything has gone for the last 10 years, as we started really paying attention to how things go.
Yes. And I think that we, especially you with the personal training, just found you can't punish your body into it. And I think that, anyone else really on a surface level would just been like, okay, ice your knee. It's okay. Just give it a little bit of time. But we've dug again deep into trying to figure it out, because we masked pain for years. I remember just putting Bengay on my arms for when they were tired and sore, and my hips and lower back were awful. I couldn't do deadlifts for a while. I was just like, oh, don't deadlift anymore. And it was like, no,
that's not a solution.
Exactly. It's like, no, I want to deadlift. I want to be able to move properly. And, once we figured out that it was the shoes that were causing, we had her change into a minimalist shoes, which is Vibrams, which we freaking love the Vibram shoes. But they're minimal. They basically don't have a sole, because your feet need to grip the floor. Your feet have how many muscles on it and nerve endings.
So many moving parts.
Your feet are so intelligent. I mean, think about that, because they're informing the rest of your body. Yeah. So you're basically wearing cushions and pillows on the bottom of your feet. So you're not, the sensory aspects on your feet. I'm not using the correct terminology, forgive me, but it's being impaired. It's not informing your body in the correct way. And what happened, as soon as we literally were like, go on Vibram, order these shoes, she ordered them, and within a week, she was like freaking running again. Absolutely no knee pain. I don't think she's complained about the knee ever since then.
No, it went away really quickly. And this is something that's happened over and over. And
yes.
Just in general, with the shoes, it's like getting yourself into minimalist shoes or training barefoot makes a huge difference in your body. But also with like all other issues, you always find out that there's something else. And you can if you just keep asking why.
Yes. what's your why?
Yeah.
Not what's your
Yeah.
why, but
Yeah.
that's another thing. But yes, why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you do have to probe. And I think that this was really a learning lesson for both of us when we began coaching, because I think my mentality with asking questions was like, I'm nagging someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt like I'm impeding on their boundaries, or maybe I'm asking too many questions that they don't want to share. But especially with the holistic coaching that we do, everything is everything. We keep saying that, but it is like, we have to dig deep into your lifestyle, into your thoughts, into your daily routine, into these things that you or anyone may think is insignificant, which really is the root cause of things.
Right.
And that's what we're there for. We're there to help people open their minds to dig deeper too, so that, you know, we can give them the tools to dig deeper as well.
Yeah, to keep asking questions, to keep learning, to keep growing. With so many people, it's like somebody comes and wants to lose weight. The obvious thing is to be like, okay, like, what do you eat?
Mm-hmm.
Is the perfect question. Like, that's step number one. Okay, let's figure out what you're eating. But also, why are you eating those foods?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to lose weight in the first place? Like, there's so many different, when you start going deep, you can actually get to the answers. Because if it's like, let's just say they have a poor diet, they're eating cake and ice cream every day, they're having pizza for dinner every day. It's very easy to say, okay, stop doing that and your problem's going to go away. But if you stop eating cake and ice cream and pizza every day, you're not giving yourself, like, your body's asking for something.
Yes.
Your body wants, whether it's the mouth pleasure, whether it's like that moment of eating the ice cream that feels so good, whether it's because like you don't love yourself or you don't feel loved and you want to have that feeling.
I'm just going to say comfort.
Yeah, comfort foods. It's a thing. It's people who don't have comfort and safety in their life will search for it in other ways. Mm-hmm. So if that's food, and then we take away the foods that are providing somebody comfort, that's not sustainable.
No.
If you don't kind of fill that void.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it works really well, like this person comes in, they have a terrible diet, they want to lose 20 pounds, we're like, all right, we're going to fix your diet. They lose 20 pounds. They're not going to keep that weight off. They're not going to create a sustainable lifestyle to either keep losing weight or maintain that. If they are torturing themselves, taking away the one thing that makes them feel loved and safe.
Oh, that resonates so much with me in my eating journey. Yes.
It's such a real thing. It's such a thing. I think it's so common where it's like, it's not a food issue at all. The food, that's just a symptom of the issue. Mm-hmm. And you can keep going deeper. It's like, okay, so we figured out that this person doesn't feel safe, doesn't feel loved. And then why? And keep going, why and why? Like, why are these patterns running? Why is this story running in your head? Because most of the time, like, it's always going to come back to the stories that are running in your mind.
Yes.
The voice, what the voice is telling you, like
100%.
But that has nothing, like, when you look at like diet culture, none of that is about like, okay, how can we make this person feel safe and loved?
Yeah.
It's about like, you're lazy, you don't care.
I know.
You just want to eat things that taste good all the time and you don't care about your health. And it's like blaming people and judging people for something that's so much deeper than what it is. Mm-hmm. And then like on top of that, like you're eating a poor diet, you're going to have metabolic dysfunction. You're going to have all these hormonal issues. Like we also work with so many people that are like overweight, who are also constantly working out, maybe spending tons of time on like a treadmill, barely eating anything. And it's like the common narrative is like, oh, if you just ate less and exercised more, you'd be healthy just like the rest of us, or whatever. But it's so much deeper than that. Like that's such a lazy surface level narrative where the truth is so much deeper. And I think that is why we've embraced going deep and and living the deep life with you is that everywhere we turn, we realize that, oh, so this story that we've been told on the surface isn't true, and it's so much deeper. And when you do get deep, you can make lasting change in every aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I could not agree more. I think that there is always more to a story, especially when I said, like, what's your why?
Mm-hmm.
You know, using the example of I want to lose weight. Why? Do you feel like you have low energy? Do you feel brain fog? Do you feel like your heart needs, you know, some alleviation from maybe any excess fat? Or is it because society told you that you should be a certain weight?
Mm-hmm.
And that was me, right? I thought I needed to be skinny to be accepted and loved. And when I wasn't getting that, I was just binging like it was nobody's business because it was a comfort. It's like what I knew. It was like the only thing. I say this analogy to my, you know, clients that I work with, like sugar, that little like rush is like a hug that no one else is providing. And especially for me. Yeah. Especially, this seems to be a little bit more geared towards women, or at least I've found it. Not sure if men kind of mask it.
I think that's probably it's probably more.
Yeah.
It's a little bit safer or more prevalent, more acceptable to have this conversation around women.
It is, yeah.
And I think a lot of the like body issues you see with men are just usually a little bit different.
Yes.
But very similar and very similar causes. It's just like we were talking about with like, it could be your low back, it could be your knee. It's a different manifestation of your feet. With men, like I know personally, like I wanted to work out so I could be jacked and look awesome, and then people would love me. Yeah. Was a big part of growing up and just living, and why I got into fitness in the first place. It was like I was self-conscious about being scrawny and skinny, and I thought that if I was bigger and stronger, more people would love me.
And I think everybody has that like internal dialogue, you know, whether it be for whatever purpose it is, you're trying to be loved.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the purpose of life, to love. And it's kind of like so simple when you put it like that, but it's really challenging because of our mindset and the thoughts that have come up, the conditions, the patterns, the agreements that we've all gone through in the world. It's made us forget who we truly are and where we come from. And we're looking for external validation when the only validation can come from ourselves.
Exactly.
And I think that we've gone on this journey. We've experienced it so differently, but we've also experienced it together because we've been together for our, 17 years, almost 18.
We grew up
literally
together.
forget. And we've changed and we've gone through these things, and we weren't nice to each other. We weren't nice to our bodies. We've been through it all. So that's why we want to bring this awareness to people, and that's what we're doing. I feel like we're fulfilling our life's, you know, purpose or dharma or whatever it is, or at least right now. Could change in 20 years.
This is definitely a part of it.
But it's because I've never, and I don't want this to sound vain, I really hope it doesn't come off wrong, but I've never felt better. I've never felt better in my life. I'm so happy. I feel like I'm finally doing what I meant to do. I feel so much better than I ever have, like in my body, in my skin, in like this physical human suit that I'm wearing, that I just want to share that with people. And I want like everyone around me to feel happy and get up in the morning with energy and a zest for life. Like I can't wait to see what today brings me, because I'm worthy of all the good things that come to me. Like I am worthy and deserving to live this life. And if I can help one person, 5 person, 1 million people, like it brings me so much. I'm giving myself like the hug that I needed for so long and reached for other people to give it to me, or like that sugary candy food. And I just, it's there. And I want people to know, like, you can feel this way. Like I promise you, like I have been in the gutters of curled up in the corner of our bedroom, like I'm gonna start crying, sobbing, like what am I here for? Like what am I doing? And so like we want to bring that awareness. Like we also don't want anyone to feel badly if they're in a situation where you're like, wait, I don't know what I'm doing. I do eat these foods. Like that's okay. Like it's part of being human.
Yeah.
It's all the lessons that we're learning. But to dig deep is really to question why. Why am I having such severe anxiety attacks? Why am I reaching for the ice cream every night? Why do I want to lose weight? Or why do I want to build muscle? And why do I want to be photographed or put in magazines to get, whatever? And it's a dependent on really your level of worth and where that stems from. It's just asking why, like what's your why? And it should be invigorating and encouraging. It's not a bad thing to ask that. To ask
not at all.
Why. It's really to find out.
And also, like, that was so deep, by the way.
Oh, I didn't even need for that to happen.
But none of these things that we're talking about are like good or bad.
No, yeah.
Like eating the cake isn't bad.
Not
Lifting weights, trying to be jacked isn't bad.
Absolutely not.
Not lifting weights because you don't want to be jacked isn't bad. Like none of this stuff is good or bad. But our intentions and beliefs around it make them good or bad.
Yes.
Because the same thing that is like life affirming and positive for me might be negative for you, or vice versa, or for anybody else. Like I love to work out. It's literally like my favorite part of the day. I get that hour where I get to go and like express myself physically and see what I'm capable of, and push myself. I love getting results from it. I love feeling good. I love all these things. I'm in a much healthier place now. Like I'm not doing it. I'm very confident in saying like I'm doing this now because I love myself and want to give my body, like honor my body by lifting weights, by getting the most out of it, and by like expressing myself physically. At other times in my life, my intentions were completely the opposite. I was doing it to punish myself because I didn't think I was muscular enough or lean enough. I was doing it because, like I said before, like I think that if I get to a certain point, people are going to love me and accept me. So that at that time, like the same practice was negative. And I was doing, it's like this, the same thing is good or bad. It's not the behavior, it's the why. It's what's that narrative running in your head? Why are you making the choices that you're choosing to make?
And this is why we talk about momentum mindset, because it's really, that's where it starts, in the mindset. And you've got to have that, we say momentum mindset, because it's taken us years to change, and we're changing and evolving each and every day. It's a never ending process. So that's kind of the momentum mindset, is we mean that it's going to be a journey. It's the keep building momentum, but in the momentum mindset where you're just taking one small step each and every day. Because your mind too, it's really building the muscles of your mind. Because if you had asked me this question that we're talking about, like, what's your why? And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't even think I would know the answer. Because intellectually, I didn't grasp the concept of how poorly I felt, how low self-worth I had, how I was just conditioned to think certain ways, conditioned to eat certain ways, or numb my pain through food and alcohol and things like that. I couldn't wrap my head around it. But as we began getting healthier and reading more, researching more, learning from experts and other people, especially ones through podcasts and books telling their own stories, I began realizing, oh, okay, so I'm not the only one here. The majority of people on Instagram, Facebook are just like pretending to be happy 99% of the time. And that, wow, there are really people who are struggling. So I'm not alone. And it's like, okay, great. Like I can pull myself out of this. And it was just a complete reversal of what I had been taught. You know, I'm working out because I ate pizza last night. I have to burn these calories off. And it's the complete opposite. No, I very much enjoy working out and shaping my body. I mean, I can't believe that I have the muscles that I have now. I mean, I would have never thought that, but like also toned at the same time. I was under the impression that, you know, I thought I was going to be bulky Hulky and a bodybuilder with lifting weights.
It's
So
like one or the other.
It completely changed my view. And this is what we have to help people with and what we do, because Dan and I are coaching people, with what we've experienced, and then taking our knowledge from also coaching other people, because like you said, you and I are very different. So things are going to manifest differently. We have different thought processes. So what's going to work for one person probably may not work for another person. We can maybe take an aspect of it or a small portion of a habit or something that we've implemented, but everyone's unique.
Yeah.
And that's what I also love about it, because the more we coach people, learn from people, hear their stories and understand their whys and their conditioning, it only helps us too.
Yes.
And it makes us dig deeper as well, because we get hit with new things each and every day. And it's like, ooh, okay, this is great. Like, I can't wait to learn more, because the more that we learn, the better we'll be able to serve others.
Yeah. It allows us to connect dots.
Yeah.
Because we're asking different questions. And as you follow this process, I guess, and sort of like go down this rabbit hole of asking the hard questions, the more questions you ask, the better your questions become.
Yes.
I think you start to learn what to ask, learn how to ask it. And this is for like coaching wise, I can now ask clients better questions.
Yeah. Wait, so this brings up one of the things I wanted to bring this point up. I think this is the perfect time. I think when you began training me like years and years and years ago, I think it was kind of soon after, every morning when we began training, you'd ask me how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you feeling? And I'd just be like, I'm fine. Like, what? It's 6 a.m, probably early in that. I was like, I'm fine, leave me alone. Then I think like after you asked me like a year into it, and we began diving deeper into our wellness and health and food and sleep and mindfulness, when you asked me again, I realized, oh, he's asking me because everything is connected. So if I didn't get a good quality sleep and I woke up tired the next day, I was going to push through a workout. But you were really asking, because if I was super tired, you wouldn't have me deadlift 150 pounds. You'd have a much lighter day. And it was like, oh, it clicked. And I know that you told me the story about when it clicked for one of your clients. It was like the best moment ever, because you ask all your clients. You can tell the story, but
very similar to what you said.
It's just like light bulb moments.
Yeah, I think it was actually, we talked about this on one of our earlier podcasts.
Yes.
And one of my clients, he was a newer client at the time, but that was about 6 months ago, and he had listened, and he made that same connection where it was like, oh, you're not asking me just as like the
polite,
like the like small talk, like, oh, how are you today? It's like you're asking for information, because that's going to change how we approach the day.
Yes. And it's so deep. It's so deep.
That is really deep. And it also, having that conversation with him helped me realize that, so now go see all my clients, and I ask them, and they don't know why I'm asking. So now it's like, okay, how did you sleep last night? What did you eat? What are you thinking? What's work like? Do you have a big day ahead of you? I can ask better questions to get more specific answers, and I can tell them, I'm asking these questions because I want to know how to go about this session. I have a plan. Does that plan fit with where you're at from like a physiological standpoint? Yes,
and I love it. And I'm going to give another example. I hope, we're not going to say a specific name, but it was a couple years ago when we began. It was actually when we began coaching, and we had an online client. And she came to us saying that, she wants to lose weight and all these things. And we began asking her like every day, how are you feeling? What's going on? I would, talk about her meals and stuff specifically, like she really wanted to lose weight. And we kept probing and asking her what's, going on, how things like that. And she finally opened up to me saying that her significant other had cheated on her. And that is heartbreaking. My God, I can only imagine. But it was like the yes moment that I was looking for, because okay, that tells me so much, so much about your eating patterns and why you're you know, not being as nice to yourself because you literally don't feel pretty.
Yeah.
Someone literally cheated, like,
Right.
and it's heartbreaking. It like brings me to tears. It's like the most detrimental thing for a woman, like, and men, to be cheated on. I mean, that is,
Yeah.
the definition of you making yourself
Being
feel unworthy or
abandoned. Yeah.
unlovable, abandoned. Yes. But after that, then the deep work could really go into it. And I almost felt like, we say this all the time, we become our clients' therapists.
Yeah, it's definitely
Not intentionally,
Right.
but at the point where she needed or wanted to grab a bag of chips or ice cream, and I was like, no, text me and I'll talk to you. We'll just have a text conversation, whatever you need. Because then I also began giving her like loving affirmations. And it's like, it's not just about beating yourself to a pulp to get skinny, because you have to love yourself. And it's more on him that he did that. It's not about you. So it's just all done. I was heartbroken when she told us, but I was also like, okay, it helps us coach better. Because if we don't know the full story, we can't dive deep into what really needs work.
And then somebody in that situation too, where she's like beating herself up and punishing herself through training.
No.
She's not going to say, no, this was too much.
Exactly.
It's like, so no matter
if
what.
anything, she was asking us for
she
more,
wanted
remember?
more. She was like, can I do another hour on the treadmill? And it's like, we need to slow down a little bit. But I don't have, like, as the like coach who's programming the workouts, without that information, I just assume the workouts I'm making are too easy.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm not giving her enough work. Like, she's in such better shape than I thought. Let's give her more and more. And she was just going to put her head down and grind and do it because the punishment probably felt good. And because she thought she deserved to be punished. And she thought that by losing the weight and putting in this work, then she was going to be loved.
Yes. And then I subconsciously like just realized, because again, this is happening to me, when you're constantly being busy too, like an more hour, you're forgetting and tuning out those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? That's, again, it's the momentum mindset. You've got to deal with that negative talk within your head or it's not going to dissipate. You literally can't work out for 7 hours a day just to numb your mind.
Yeah, just running from it.
Mindset is so imperative in building a healthy lifestyle. It really is. And that's why we've like, I want to say we're pioneering this concept of momentum mindset. Not that we're the only people, but it's really, as coaches, we're understanding it's much, much more than surface level things.
Yeah, and that's exactly, I think, over the almost 10 years now that I've been training clients. It's like in the beginning, it was all sets and reps. And now it's like getting so much more toward like mindset and getting people into the right headspace, doing things for the right reasons, setting the right intentions so that they can basically like love themselves. Like it's like training as self-care and as like honoring your body, like I said before. But yeah, and that's,
I think that's I mean, we could talk about this for hours, but I think that that's the deep life is all about digging, questioning, figuring it out. If you can't figure it out, that's all right. Questioning more.
Yeah, it's like you think about a tree, and like for a tree to keep growing bigger and bigger, its roots need to get deeper and deeper. So like if you want to make actual like growth with yourself, personal development, and just like becoming the best version of yourself, you really have to get deep. You really have to have strong, grounded roots and kind of balance that out. So it's like 360 degrees of growth. It's like every part of yourself.
Absolutely. And it happens every day and continues. The growth process.
Never ending process.
But that's exciting.
Yeah, that's the deep life.